Hi everybody, welcome to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, welcome to the new Ground War mode, welcome to the PlayStation 4 and welcome to my review where I try and answer the question, is Ground War a battlefield killer? Now the first thing I actually want to say about that is that the only thing that is a battlefield killer, the only thing that can kill Battlefield is Battlefield itself, because I'm a big Battlefield fan. And I've super enjoyed Battlefield 4. Battlefield 1 is up there as one of my favourite games of all time. Probably that and PUBG, right up there itself. And what for me has really spoiled Battlefield has been Battlefield 5, which started off under a cloud, because I won't go into it now, but it was lots of things on launch weren't quite right, and they fiddled with some of the core physics behind, some of the core gameplay mechanics behind Battlefield, which meant that it was a bit rocky. But then they kind of sorted it out. But then the pace of improving the game and expanding the game has been incredibly slow and awful. And that's what's killed Battlefield. If Battlefield 5 had been as good as Battlefield 1, I would still be playing it now. And although I would be, playing Call of Duty and giving a go to the open beta, I wouldn't be giving it the focus that I am. Because like many other Battlefield players, we're kind of looking for that Battlefield experience. We want that Battlefield experience. We want that large game mode with lots of players fighting together sometimes. And getting those Battlefield moments. And I've got to say, you do get Battlefield moments in Ground War. You just do. It's amazing. You have helicopters crashing, jets screaming overhead, jeeps smashing into each other, tanks smashing into each other. It's really cool. So, the only Battlefield killer is Battlefield, but Ground War is up there, and it's its own thing. The closest thing I could probably describe Ground War 2 in terms of Battlefield is Battlefield 4 but condensed, and I will be doing comparison videos with Battlefield 4 and Ground War where you can kind of see them next to each other. But yeah, imagine a classic Battlefield 4 map, say like the Hainan Resort Battlefield map, and then you took it and squashed it. Actually, it's probably more like the Tank Factory map. I can't remember what it's quite called at the moment, because this map is a bit like that Tank Factory map. Imagine that, and then you squash it so it's half the size, but you've still got 32 versus 32, you've still got 64 players, you've still got helicopters flying around, you've still got tanks zooming around, you've still got jets coming in, and that's what Ground War feels like. I think it looks amazing. Now, it doesn't look realistic in the way that the Frostbite engine makes Battlefield games look realistic. It has that slightly cartoony feel, but there is an incredible amount of detail in this map. When you go inside, buildings, there's settees and televisions, and it all looks. The graphics are as good in Ground War as they are, and the detail as good as they are in the smaller multiplayer maps. So it's amazing they've got this, because if you remember from Blackout with Black Ops 4, there wasn't quite as much detail there, I don't think. So that's pretty cool. Now, I think that one of the ways they get around this is, from what I could see as well, there's no destruction in this map. You can't blow up buildings, you can't blow up doors or anything like that. So that's probably how they keep the memory requirements within the envelope of what things like the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One can handle. But it's very impressive, and I can't wait to see some of the other maps as well. The sound, on the other hand, although it sounds great, the machine guns sound good and the jets sound amazing, the explosions are great, it can be very cluttered. Which means that it can be difficult to figure out where the sounds are of enemies, when you're listening out footsteps, because you've got all this ambient noise that's going on, and you've got the Call of Duty, guitar riffs going off when somebody's captured a point and all that things. But you can turn those things off in the options, but the sound isn't quite up there with Battlefield. I've noticed some videos and some reviewers have mentioned the fact that there's not really much teamwork happening in Ground War, but I've got to disagree. I mean, even when I'm playing with randoms like now, there's many points where we're all running to capture the same flag, and we all kind of spread out around the flag to defend it as it's being captured, you know, and then we move off together. So you know that's pretty cool. One of the things you'll notice, and I've got mixed feelings about this, is how powerful the that's a real good Call of Duty moment there, isn't it? How powerful the snipers are, because Call of Duty has one-hit kill sniper rifles that are one-hit kill basically almost for the whole body. It's normally from the lower chest up, which means that when you're out in the open running along, you get lots of people who are in looking through windows, and they'll just take you out in an instant because of that one-hit capability. The way that Battlefield balances it is that you've got to get a headshot to get that one-shot kill, which is a lot more difficult, and so you have a second chance if you get hit in the body to kind of get behind cover. Battlefield 1 did it slightly different in the fact that you had a sweet spot where you could hit people from certain distances. Now, the reason why I say I've got mixed feelings about this is it forces you as an infantry soldier anyway to stick to cover and stick to the buildings and make your way through the buildings and the areas with short lines of sight. Excuse me while I adjust my mic. And that's kind of more realistic, isn't it? I think, you know, that's what you would do. You would be really, really careful. And if you were hit by a sniper rifle bullet, you know, anywhere really on your body, you would be out of the action, wouldn't it? Because, you know, sniper rifles fire these big bullets that just rip you apart. So I'm kind of mixed about that. There we go. So there's a one-shot kill where I didn't have a second chance, and the guy didn't hit me in the head. You know, he hit me in the lower chest. So I'd like to see some balancing for that. Maybe I think they've got to reduce the damage, I think, of sniper rifles. And even if they just copied it's got to be a headshot, I think that would work. Now there's no classes in Ground War, but because you can change your perks and change your guns and change your field upgrades, you know that you can, you know, whether you can bring the shield or the ammo crate or the drone, basically everything that you can do in the multiplayer all carries over to this mode. So it means you can create your own class. There's no need to have an engineer class and a medic class and stuff like that. You know, you just make your own class. Now, there's no reviving, and you can't drop medic boxes, but you can drop ammo boxes. And as far as I'm aware, you can't repair vehicles. You know, but you could argue that some of those things, they're not the most fun thing to do in Battlefield anyway. And obviously you can change your cosmetic looks as well, and again that doesn't have any effect on your character. You know, there's no specialist skills like in Black Ops 4 or Black Ops 3. Kill streaks are here, but they don't affect the gameplay as much as you would have thought they would, especially if you run Ghost, so UAVs can't see you and people can't see you in targeting screens. I thought it maybe could have been a lot worse, but again, because the map is pretty big, even though people are constantly calling in UAVs and missile strikes, you know, although it can be frustrating, it's not as bad as we thought it would be, and it creates an incredibly cinematic experience, especially when the Harriers are coming in and the A10s are coming in and doing all that stuff. That bit feels so much like Battlefield 4. You know, when you'd be on a map and there'd be little birds flying around, and then you get the jets screaming in and dropping their bombs or doing strafing runs. You know, very much like Battlefield 4, very much Battlefield experience. You can play in different styles, and again you can set up. It's very easy to set up your different guns in the gunsmiths. You know, so you'd have a sniper and assault rifle combination, so you can run with two guns, which is really cool. Something you can't really do in Battlefield. Well, I know you run with your main gun and your pistol, and so you can play the edge and strafe, camp and snipe people from a distance. You can run down the centre, and that's really cool. Take your time, or you can be chaotic. You can play the objective, or you can maybe stop people getting onto the objectives that way. Now, a big bit, I think, of how successful Ground War will be long term will be what maps we get. Because at the moment we've got this map here, and I understand that when the YouTubers went off to There we go, that's a Battlefield moment, isn't it? YouTubers went off to Activision. They played a 10 versus 10, I think, version, or it might have been 20 versus 20 version, on a much more urban map. So that'll be interesting. I mean, I'd like to see more open maps where the flags aren't all surrounded by, but you know, we're not in buildings. But if they were doing that, they would definitely have to tone down the snipers. Because obviously if it's open, you can get people from quite a long way away. This is quite an epic moment here, actually, when we capture this flag, taking out people as they go onto the flag. But you know, we'll see what we get. One of the problems with the Battle Royale mode in Black Ops 4 Blackout was the fact that we only ever had Blackout. We only ever had the one map, and I know they changed it throughout the season. But we need a little bit of variety, I think. And hopefully as well, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 will be so popular that they will be able to support that player base as well, because that's something that's very important with these big game modes. You need a big player base so that you can pack the lobbies of people who live close to one another. It's no good having a game with lots and lots of players needed if there aren't that many people playing it and they're all spread out over the world, because then you end up with a laggy experience, which is frustrating. So it's a difficult thing to balance, because people are going to be playing team deathmatch, people are going to be playing domination, people are going to be playing gunfight, and then you know this 32 versus 32 mode. So it's going to be sucking up a lot of players. Moving on from there, but I've managed to move my notes, so that's no good. I think the core reason why this is, well, I'm really enjoying it, is it is really fun. You've got round about a 15-minute total game time, which is you know, a good time to play a game. You know, it doesn't go on forever and ever, like half an hour, like sometimes Battlefield can do, especially Battlefield 5 maps. And the fast respawn time, I can't underestimate how much better that makes the game. If you go back, for example, and play Battlefield 4 now, if you haven't played it for a while, when you get killed, you have to wait ages before you can get back into the fight. And you'll notice that you can respawn on squad mates. You know, you have 4 people in your squad. You can respawn on captured points, and you can respawn on your home flag, which is really good. So it means you can get back into the fight within seconds. You know, within 2 or 3 seconds, instead of the 10 to 15, 30, sometimes even a minute that it would be with Battlefield games. And I think that is key to this experience, because it means that when you get that frustrating death where you get killed by a missile coming in, or a one-shot kill for a sniper, it's even got the parachutes from Battlefield 4. When you have that experience, it doesn't really matter, because within 2 seconds you're back in the fight looking for that person who sniped you, or going on to do different things. So this year, and going into 2020, you know, unless DICE do something miraculous, Battlefield basically killed itself with Battlefield 5. And Ground War isn't a replacement for Battlefield, but it definitely fills that gap for players who, I think, you've played Battlefield 4 a lot and you've enjoyed it. You played Battlefield 1 and you enjoyed it, but you know, you don't want to go back to those games now. And maybe you've even played Battlefield 5 like myself. You know, I've put a lot of time into Battlefield 5, but I've lost patience with the fact that there hasn't been that much new content, and the way that the game has developed and the story behind the game and stuff like that. I'm just, you know, I've just kind of had it with that game. It's fun to go back to Battlefield 5 and play it for a round or two if you haven't played it for a long time, because then it kind of feels a little bit fresh. But then after a while you're like, oh, yeah, where's all the new maps? You know, why can't I see people? Why isn't there spotting in it? You know, why did they change these core things from the Battlefield experience? And so in conclusion then, I'd say that especially, you know, with this addition of Ground War to Modern Warfare 2019, we've got a very impressive package from COD this year. We've got a great TDM, great domination, great 2v2 gunfight, and if the campaign is any good at all, this could be the best COD for years. Brilliant. Well, if you enjoyed the video, hit like, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you again soon.